I have not had those issues at anything I've been involved with. There's been overdose deaths at American Addiction Centers. There's been overdose deaths at other facilities. I think that would be the worst case scenario, is obviously someone at visitation gets a batch of fentanyl and ODs. That's the worst case I can imagine, and I haven't had it happen at anything I've been involved in.
Is there screening of the people that come into a facility?
Absolutely.
The visitors that come in?
Yes.
Is there? Okay. Okay. Why 3 acres? What's so magic about 3 acres?
Because I want room for amenities. I think that wherever you go, it's important to at least have the potential to put a basketball court, a pickleball court. There are places with swimming pools. I'm not one for a swimming pool because of the insurance, right, and the risk, but I went to a rehab with a swimming pool, and we were allowed to use it on Saturdays. Mm-hmm. I've been sober over 17 years.
Good for you.
So, you know, it's really an amenities situation, size of the facility, the ability not to feel that you're in the city and cramped up. And even if it's for gardens, walking paths, something like that, some acreage to get outside is good. It's healthy.
Are these facilities gated?
Yes, we've had, depending on where we are, like in West Palm Beach, we fenced the entire property and gated the one I did there. Archstone is not gated. They can be. So, and I have no problem with that. I would think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I was going to say,
You have
what
to
would your
remember,
recommendation
from my
be?
perspective, and again, I've had this conversation with boards before, they're always worried about the people coming out. I'm worried about the people coming in.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's a two-way street. I always said the only packages I want delivered are from FedEx and UPS. That's it. I don't want anybody else coming in and drones and all this other nonsense, because crazier things have happened. But no, I'm not adverse to that. I think it's actually good for, you know, with a nice hedge, it makes for an appealing front, but it's also safety for both sides of the fence. Like
So
how
you
we
wouldn't be
make good
opposed to having a
neighbors.
text amendment that basically had a requirement for fencing and gating?
Yeah. Is that in there?
It's
No,
not.
it's not.
That would be a part of it, that would be a conditional requirement. for
Unless we
that
put it in
specific
here.
use. You could add a supplement, if you're okay with this.
I'm okay with it.
That, so any site.
So they're not
that
just,
with
I don't
this
care about
use-
your facility, you're starting a precedent that may create something
Well, that's
else.
the other thing, and Min Hill not being a large town, you know, this, you know, you have to really be clear. I want to be really clear what I think is best for this, because it's not like you're going to have 6 of these things. They're not pizza places. You're not going to have 6 rehab facilities in
banks.
Mint Hill. It's, you know what I mean? It's not going to happen. I don't even know how many pizza places there are, but I had Tony's today. It was pretty good on Monroe. You know, this
the
isn't
thing is,
a
once we set this
common
precedent,
thing.
we gotta
So
be careful.
if you're going to do it right the first time.
Yes.
That's kind of my point.
That's what I'm going to you as an expert saying, okay, to do it right, to do this text amendment right, you would recommend that we have fencing and gating in the text amendment?
I would.
Yes, okay. What else would you recommend?
I would recommend no more than a small monument sign.
Why would that be?
Why would that be?
We have
Because-
signage requirements anyway, but why would that be?
Because you want the ability to have a sign, but you don't want, this isn't a used car dealership. You don't need a 50-foot American flag pole, you know, to sell. I don't even think they need them to sell cars, but you don't need that here. This is quiet, and we want to keep it quiet. Again, we're talking about HIPAA laws for the patients, their anonymity. That's very important. Someone that takes the step to go to an inpatient facility is really trusting that everything they're giving of themselves, and that's not going to be violated. You know, they're really going out on a limb I know from my own personal experience, that's why I can say that, right? And you're going and you're trusting that these people aren't going to say anything or have anybody just walk in and find out who's there. So it's, again, two-way street, it's quiet.
What else? Think of anything else? So if we do this text amendment, we want to try to do it right.
So can I just interrupt?
I think we covered quite a bit.
For this approval, it is just the text amendment. Each, if there were facilities more than the one he's speaking of to come about, every single one would have to go through the conditional zoning process. And at that point, you could have this one have a fence, maybe this specific location, a fence wouldn't work, or, you would rather have a brick wall, whatever, just for an example.
We could also put it
You-
in here, and they could come back with conditional zoning and ask to take it back out.
Right,
Right.
true.
I'll tell you what else is important to me, because again, I've done this around the country. And it doesn't matter how perfect the facility is. And I've been in this situation, you'd be surprised. Because generally, we look at ALFs. This is what is pre-built for the conversion, and it's generally a zoning and licensing thing after that, right? I don't have to build ground up. But ALFs are a different animal than this, especially in the public's eye, right? I don't want to be next door to a church. I don't want to be next door to a daycare. I don't want to be next door to adult entertainment. I don't want to be next door to a bar. There's multiple factors you say, well, that would never happen, but I've seen ALFs that abut school grounds, and the fence on the other side is the field for the high school. And the broker says, well, why don't you like this one? Because it's next to a school. But we could get the zoning done. First of all, no, we couldn't, and second of all, I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? So there's certain location factors as to the surrounding area. Again, two-way street for the community and for the facility.
Yeah. See, and I can see us doing that with conditional zoning, as far as that, if it's next to a whatever, we'd put something there. Because it's so hard to put that kind of verbiage into something and cover everything. But,
These are the
fence
things
and
I've
the
come
gating,
across and I've
the
experienced.
security part of it, we could add it in there.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You have a question after
Sure,
all.
sure, we'll go around again.
One question I thought about during this discussion, Frank, is there a certain ratio of staff to individual patients in your experience?
Full staff, and I'm talking about everything from kitchen staff to the medical director, is generally one per bed. Part-time and full-time basis, and some that don't even work in the facility. The entire marketing staff generally doesn't work in the facility, right? So generally, it's about one per bed. And in this case, in any case, that's what you're looking at. One per bed for the full staff.
What's a bay? When you talk about a bay, what are you talking about?
Bed,
Bed.
Bed, oh, I thought you said bay, I'm sorry.
forgive me.
No, forgive me, my hearing.
That's my Florida accent.
It's my Kentucky hearing. Okay, and staffing, like nurses and stuff like that?
Correct.
One per,
Well, the entire staff, including kitchen staff, outside marketing
but I'm
staff.
dealing with people on the medical side. I mean, as far as a chef and all that other stuff, fine, but like on the
Medical
medical, I want to
director.
make sure that there's medical coverage.
Medical director, clinical director, nurses, depending on state law, is usually 12 to 1.
That's a licensing.
Same with
requirement.
therapists. Excuse me?
That's a licensing requirement. No matter-
Right.
What's that?
That's a licensing requirement.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go around again?
Yeah, well, just one more question, kind of clarity. So with these facilities, patients don't have access to vehicles, and it's not like an open door, they're coming and going throughout the day?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, they didn't drive themselves to rehab.
yeah.
I didn't have a driver's license, a full, clean driver's license for 32 years and 2 months.
Yeah.
Well-deserved, I might add. Well-deserved. I made my bed.
I know y'all said something about the license. Do y'all have to get certificate of need like hospitals do?
The
Is there-
certificate of need is on a local basis based on the municipality, and I have to get clarity on that because I know from the state that has been lifted. The certificate of need statewide was rescinded by the governor in May 2023.
For these facilities?
Correct.
Okay.
So, I believe it's a county, and I have to get clarity on that from my consultant. I believe it's either the county or the municipality, but I think it's the county.
Okay.
What is it? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
Roger.
it's, who does the operation of this facility? Does your company operate the facility or just build?
We don't currently operate right now. I have a partner that operates two, and I've done operations before, so
Yeah, but I mean
I'm
here.
building a new team right now doing the outpatient detox in Dilworth, and we're gonna do Fort Mill as well. We're gonna do 2 locations in this area.
But now I'm talking about for the change of this ordinance. What are you looking to do? Are you going to be running this facility here?
I would operate a facility with regards to this, yes.
How long do you generally operate a facility before you sell it?
Well, I don't plan on selling this. I'm in a different position right now.
Right now,
Pardon?
right now,
I don't plan on selling this.
right now, okay. I'm just,
This is a huge investment, so you understand? And again, we're talking about a text amendment, but generally speaking, specific to the industry, so I can talk in generalizations. We're talking about anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000 per bed on an acquisition cost. And then that facility has to be brought back to life, code, compliance, cosmetic. Then when there's licensing, then there's staffing, then there's marketing. The cost to start and run these types of facilities beyond the real estate, over and above the real estate, is about $50,000 per bed. And you're not going to see that back anywhere from 18 months to, 2.5 years.
oh, I'm sure it's a very
This
expensive
is
proposition.
This is a huge investment.
Yeah, but this is
Maybe
also,
not
this is also a
for
huge
Donald
investment
Trump,
for
it's
you.
not a huge investment, or Elon Musk. For me, it's a huge investment. For
Well-
the guys I work with, this is a big deal.
It's a rather significant change for us too as a community. Okay, as a growing, vibrant community, it's a rather significant change because we have a ordinance, but we're looking to change it to accommodate this facility or this type of facility.
Correct.
That's where I'm struggling with. We have an ordinance, but this type of facility doesn't fit. Okay, but now you're wanting this type of your facility and or others would now fit with this type of wording. Okay, conditional zoning, I understand, but it would still now fit. And I'm just, other than the availability of the property, and that was what.
I think
Callahan
it goes to a lot of things. The facility itself, specific to what I'm talking about, the facility itself, its location, the community, its proximity to the airport. And when I say the location, this is not where New Season is, if you know what New Season is. New Season's a methadone clinic. They're not in the best neighborhoods, right? Anything I've ever only done is Class A, ever.
Well, do generally the clientele for your type of a clinic, are they more local people? Or because you've mentioned airport several times, are they
I
more
believe
of a
that this
transit?
would be about 75% statewide, right? Would be, and I can't say Charlotte, but I would certainly say the state, that's where the need really is.
Yeah.
And then even about 25%, 20 to 25% would still come in from out of
Out of
state.
state. Okay.
What's the success ratio of these facilities?
Financially or for the
No,
client?
Well, both, but I'm not financial, I don't care. I'm talking about people that come in there and then they get out. Do they stay off whatever.
If they're plugged back into a support system and stay plugged in the alumni system. Just because someone leaves your facility doesn't mean they left you. And so an entire alumni division is built around keeping that client engaged. I have still, only 2 weeks ago, I spoke to my old partner in our Tennessee facility who had spoken to a former client on Facebook from 2016 and said he's still sober.
Kind of like AA support
Yeah,
system.
Well, any of the addictions.
Yeah.
12 steps. Y'all do 12 steps in there?
yes.
Yeah.
Foundationally, for the first year, it's my belief that the 12 steps and getting reconnected to God and a higher power is paramount.
Yes.
Foundationally, for the first year.
What's the cost to go to one of these facilities?
Insurance will pay anywhere from $15,000 to about $25,000 per month,
Per month?
depending on, obviously, the insurance and many factors.
But if I could just
ahead.
add on that, you said your clinic is usually about a week stay?
The detox is about a week, and then residential treatment tends to be anywhere from 3 to 5 weeks.
Right, but how does that, what percentage-wise, how does that generally run in a clinic of this nature? How many is detox, how many's the further?
About 20% of a facility would run in detox.
Okay, so 80% of it would be longer care.
Correct.
Okay.
They don't move beds, just so you understand. Unless, I mean, I've worked with facilities that have specific wings. This is our detox wing, and then we move them over here. But generally speaking, it's a matter of the amount of care they receive. Like when you're in the hospital, you don't even know that the next day your insurance is paying this because you're getting a different level of care. You didn't move your hospital room.
Yeah, unfortunately, I worked in a facility that had a pretty bad drug problem. I was in the cigarette industry. And within our manufacturing, I mean, I saw these people. They would go out, we'd send them to rehab. We'd actually send them to rehab twice. We'd save their jobs for them. And they would come back, and if they didn't stay with the support group, the 12-step program,
Have to
stay
stay.
with the support group, you were just,
They have to plug into local if they're coming in from out of state. What makes this unique is I think that locally, first of all, locally, I think it'd be great for the population. And when I say locally, I do mean within a 3-hour drive, right? I mean, I think within 3 hours, there's a tremendous need. But if you don't stay plugged in beyond,
right.
and that's why an alumni program is so important. If you don't stay plugged in, especially when you go home. Coming from South Florida, I'm from Palm Beach County. I spent, almost 30 years down in Florida. That is the epicenter of the drug and alcohol industry, was Delray Beach. We have 343 beds in Palm Beach County, forget Florida. I mean, it is the epicenter of the industry. I watched the boom and bust. I watched the good players and the bad. I worked with private equity groups. I worked with the providers. And one of the greatest lessons I learned was from a gentleman, and I will not name his name. He is out of the industry now after 15 years, sadly. But he had a robust alumni program, and one of his alumni overdosed, right? Didn't make it. And he started a program where he literally spends, and I kid you not, this guy spends north of $50,000 a year on bags with a toothbrush, a pair of socks, right? And the kid who died, his name and his picture on this bag. And he has his staff go out to the entire community, homeless community, jails. I can't even tell you the amount of what this guy gives back. And that was from losing one kid, and he had hundreds. I mean, that guy in his career, he treated thousands of people. But I went to one of his facilities in Washington State. We flew out there. And there was a guy sweeping the sun off the sidewalk, So I said, hey, this guy okay? You know what I mean? He's just sweeping the sun off the side. He goes, he's doing great. You should have seen him last year when he was homeless, and I let him go through my program for free and then gave him a job. And this guy, you know what I mean? So like, I know there's a way to do this and there's a way to do it right. And it's not, I'm not saying we all don't have to eat. Business is business. But there's a way to do it, especially aftercare, that makes a difference.
Mr. Chairman, I got just a couple more things. And, you know, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about this because, you know, this is something new. I've been on this board quite a while. This is something new for this type of change to allow, to allow this type of facility. So learning something about it and understanding it will be beneficial for us. But what I'm getting now from you is this amendment, you've made the comment several times that you've already made these kind of zoning changes in multiple communities to allow for these type of
I've
treatment centers?
worked on multiple,
Right. So this
Real
is
estate
something that
deals.
kind of has to be done any place, your type of facility.
if it doesn't exist in the text,
But most places, it has to be added? Is that what I'm kind of getting from you?
no, a variance usually.
Okay.
Most of the time it's, hey, it's in there, but it's not clear, and I don't know if this, I mean, I had one in Colorado that was zoned hospital.
Okay.
I went after a building that was zoned, it was an office building, zoned hospital. And I said, I'd like to convert this into a drug rehab, and they said
So
no,
that kind of leads me to my next question.
right? And that's up to them, it's zoned hospital, I don't know
Right.
why it wouldn't.
We're not really unique. What's unique about this situation is the property that's available.
To me,
At 4,700, right, that's what's unique. If that happened to be in Matthews, or if it hadn't been Huntersville.
I'd be
it had-
standing in
You'd be doing the
Matthews.
same thing with
Correct.
this and with your attorney doing that there.
correct.
Okay, all right, I understand that now. I do think it's, for reasons, Mr. Chairman, of this amendment, because we're looking at, yes, making a change as treatment centers are, are an absolute necessity of society these days. I think the fenced and gated is something that should be added to this amendment so that it's in the books. And if it's zoned if it's determined at that time by the board that it would need something additional to that, I think that would be appropriate. But I think for our book, to put in our book, and because I understand what you're doing, but what we're doing has more legs to it than what you're
Of course.
doing. Because
I
this is
respect
about,
that.
we have more open property than any other community in this area around Charlotte, which is the 16th biggest metro area in the country, and we have the most open property. And what we've tried extremely hard to do is make sure we gauge our property so it's good for the future of the people who live here and the people that and the people that will come to live here. So, I'm just trying to look at what's best for the community, not this facility, but possibly the next facility, because addiction is not something that's going away. And, treatment centers are not something that's going away. I think you can there's probably nobody in this room that's, them or their families in some form or fashion has touched a treatment facility in some form or fashion. It's just part of life. Okay, so I know it has in my family, but I am a little concerned about making this kind of a change without making sure we have our bases covered so that our commissioners, when the time comes, have the tools they need to make the best decisions for our community. And I could support moving a favorable option to the commissioners with that caveat and let them, take this from there. I see the need. The need's not, and please don't think that anything that I said was questioning what you do for a living.
Oh, not at all.
That's not it. I'm questioning how it affects the town of Mint Hill and the citizens here with the properties here.
sensitive to
I
that.
thought we were unique, but I'm coming to find out the property is unique, not us. So, and I get that for, for what you're doing. But I'm just concerned about down the road. I don't want this too loose, and I don't want, I want it to be tight. Sure.
You'll get a
to
chance
do this.
if you put
Fair
together a
play.
motion. The sponsorship that you do it within your facility? Do people there sponsor in the 12 program, or how do you get your sponsors? Do you actually teach the 12-step program in your facility?
I'm not a clinician. I'm not a clinician.
All right.
When I ran my sober living facility, I ran all the meetings. I've run institutional committee meetings for AA. I did a whole stint in institutional. So you don't need to be a legal clinician to run AA, obviously.
No.
So, but yes, AA sponsors, we plug into the local community, we get a schedule, we get our facility put with institutions of the local chapter. They will assign someone to the institution. Say Roger on Tuesday nights is gonna take the commitment. And that goes on to the institutional schedule, not the open public schedule. And so AA meetings could be brought in. There is also the opportunity to transport once they've been at the facility, and we've done this before, once they're at the facility for a period of time and they've stabilized, to take them out to exterior AA meetings into the community and then bring them back with techs, obviously. You know, medical techs,
All right,
behavioral health techs.
good, thank you. Any other questions? Anybody got anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I had one question for the town. The amendment that we were provided with the 3, 1, 2, and 3, the adds pieces, is this wording and has all of this been, the town's already gone over this and this is the way they like the wording? Or is this just what's been submitted? I mean, has John put his stamp on the particular wording that's on here, or is this just what's being submitted from the,
I don't believe
From the
that any
applicant.
of it has been finalized. I believe that
Right.
John and Lisa,
So we provided the text as is, add definition. That was kind of just to walk through the text this evening. We have been working in coordination with John, and he is good with the text. We can work with him on any kind of formatting that is needed, but we do have the correct section numbers and all that.
so anything that you guys are recommending, we could add,
Correct.
change, you know.
Does our
before-
legal counsel look at this?
Yes,
Huh? Our legal
Yeah.
counsel?
they have, yes.
Yeah.
what'd they say? What'd they say?
Oh,
They were
just
good.
look- they
We waited
review the
on,
language.
yeah, we waited on his approval prior to applying.
Once again, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a favorable recommendation on ZC 24-10, filed by J.D. Winston LLC for a text amendment to request the addition of substance abuse treatment facility definition, amend the table of permitted uses and add the substance abuse treatment facility standards, including our caveat to require fencing around the property to the supplementary, and gated too, to the supplementary use regulations section of the UDO.
All right?
I'll second.
Second. Roger seconds. Any more discussion? All those in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Unanimously passed. Thank you all for your time. Very good. Nice explanation.
coming out.
Thank you. All right. Any other business? We have anything else? If not, can I get some motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
All right.